we will be recording this call so that you will get the webinar, the slides, the recording of the slides, as well as the audio after we're finished. So thank you all for being here today. I greatly appreciate it. I am Hallie Crawford. I'm a certified career coach and the founder of HallieCrawford.com. And we are here to talk today for this next half hour about 10 ways to get promoted, whether it's this year or the following year. How can you position yourself and what action steps do you need to start taking right now in order to get promoted sooner than later, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at this next slide. And the first thing I want to let you all know is that I totally get how it can feel intimidating or unattainable maybe in some way, shape, or form to get that next promotion. And the reason why I say this is because sometimes I suffer from, like a lot of professionals do, from what is called the imposter syndrome. And the imposter syndrome is kind of a phenomenon, if you will, where people feel like their success is due to luck or outside circumstances rather than the hard work or effort that they put in or their skill set or knowledge and expertise. And I suffer from this just like everybody else does to a certain extent every once in a while, okay? We have a very high satisfaction rating with our clients, so we are able to help them overcome this imposter syndrome. But one of the things that I just wanted to let you know kind of up front here is that I get it. I understand how it can be, and that it can be easier said than done to just go ask for that promotion. And that's why we're here to talk about this today, to give you some tangible, measurable action steps that you can take right away to move you towards asking for that promotion, how to prepare for it, and to help you be more confident in asking for it as well, okay? So let's move to the next slide here. So here's our agenda. Obviously, we're talking about how to get promoted, and it's not in 2018. There's an error on this slide. I apologize. It should be in 2019 or the year after. But here's what we're going to be talking about today. I will give you the 3 most common obstacles that we have found with our clients that hinders them, if you will, from asking for and getting that promotion. We will give you 10 tips to get the promotion. And I do suggest, everybody, that you work through those tips in the order that they're presented, because they're presented as they should kind of build off of each other, okay? And also at the very end, quickly here, I'm going to give you some 4 basic things to avoid to keep yourself in the running from the promotion, okay, or for that promotion. And by the way, you all, like I said, will get a copy of this recording after our session today. But if you would like a copy of the PowerPoint slides, please don't hesitate to ask us. You can email us at admin@HallieCrawford.com. It says on the slide right here. Please feel free to email us for a copy of the PowerPoint slides as well, because there may be a couple of things actually that you would like to print out for your records. So one of the quick things before we go to this next slide here is I did want to let you all know that I've been coaching and training for just over 18 years now. My work year anniversary is coming up in March. I'm a certified career coach. I was certified through the Coaches Training Institute out of California. It was one of the very first coaching training institutes that started at the beginning of our profession. And I have an undergraduate degree from Vanderbilt University in interpersonal communication and psychology, and a master's degree as well in education from the University of Illinois, okay? So I know I look like I'm 12 or, you know, maybe it's like 25 at this point. I'm actually 45, and I absolutely love what I do. So I really appreciate your time being here today, and I'm excited to share all of these tips with you. Okay, so let's take a look at this next slide here. So first of all, I want to explain to you why it's important to address the obstacles first. So the things that hold people back from asking for or getting that promotion, because I understand, and we understand, you know, all the coaches on our team understand that it can feel overwhelming and competitive. And we have to deal with the obstacles first, because we can talk all day long about these are the 10 things that you need to do in order to move forward for that promotion. But if you don't address whatever may be holding you back, whether it's internal or external factors, if you don't address those right away, you're not going to be able to implement any of these tips, so it won't matter, okay? So first of all, if you stay on top of, or if any of you have seen statistics like this on the slide, this can just make those obstacles worse, make you feel even worse about or more intimidated, you know, about applying for that promotion, okay? Because An average job attracts 250 resumes. There's a ton of people applying for jobs out there, and competition can be steep. And 51% of employers, these are statistics that are recent from Glassdoor.com, 51% of employees are considering a new job. So it can feel like very overwhelming because the competition can feel like it's very, steep, if you will. So this is one of the things that is hard for people, is they feel like, gosh, do I deserve it? And who else is going for that same promotion? But the good news is here. If you take a look at this slide, please know that if you read these facts, that organizations do need strong leaders. There will be a shortfall of those leaders, qualified leaders, in the next 5 years. Only 18% of current managers really feel like strongly that they have the talent that they need for their organization. And 35% of managers are engaged in their jobs, but 51% are not engaged. So we need engaged leaders and managers in order to step up to the plate, okay? So there is good news, and those leadership positions, those leaders are out there, are needed for these positions, I should say. Okay, so let's talk about these obstacles first. So we wanted to share these 3 common obstacles that we have found over doing this for 18 years and our clients, that holds them back the most from applying for or going for that promotion. The first one is, if you take a look at this slide, they have an unclear sense of direction. They're not really sure if they want to stay at their current organization or even within their industry. They're not sure if the job is totally satisfying and they want to stay put. Does it leverage their strengths or not? And if they want to stay at their company or move to a different organization. So as a result, because they're not clear about their direction, they just kind of put this to the side and stay put. The second common obstacle is they have a lack of confidence, or what I was referencing before, that sense of imposter syndrome. Do I really deserve this? Am I really good enough? Okay. And then finally, the third common obstacle is just flat out procrastination. People just don't want to deal with this, or it's also that they just don't put the time into it, and work just gets busy, kids, everything else that may be going on in your lives. We just don't put the time and effort towards it. So if any of these obstacles applies to you, we want you to, right now on the handout that is listed in the chat box or on a piece of paper, whatever works best for you, I want you to first, everyone, identify what your biggest obstacle is. Because unless you know what it is, you will not be able to overcome it, okay? So write down whether it's unclear direction, the confidence, or if it's something completely different than what's listed on this slide, write that down as well, because you need to start working on that. I'm happy to work on that with you through coaching. I will offer everyone on this call today a free career strategy session. We can talk about it then. Either way works for me, okay? So first of all, let's talk about updating your resume, and this is tip number 1. And actually, as you're thinking about, and as I'm reading this, I want to launch our first poll here, just by the way, everybody, which obstacle applies to you, so that as I'm talking, we can start to get, some feedback from everyone on the call today, which is the biggest obstacle. So go ahead and start filling that out now, and I will start on tip number 1. So the first thing you need to do is update your resume and keep it updated. The first thing you've got to do in order to move towards that promotion is to take stock of where you are right now in your career, what accomplishments have you attained, and what skills you've attained, and everything else since you last updated your resume. Then you want to establish your goals for when you want that promotion and refine the resume, obviously. Thank you all for participating in the polls. I'll just read these out really quickly. So we have 60% of the people on the call today say that their biggest obstacle is the lack of confidence. We've got 40% say procrastination, and 20% say the unclear direction, okay? So the lack of confidence, everything that we're talking about today, should help you with actually all of these obstacles, everybody. So with the lack of confidence, though, I especially want you to think about what are the things that you need to do in order to build your confidence. And writing up and creating an accomplishments document that we are going to talk about as we go through the slides today. This is going to be one of the things we discuss. So here's the deal. Set your goals for, what position you want to go for in terms of that promotion. Where is it going to be? What's the timeline that you want to go for it? Okay. Update your resume to reflect all of your accomplishments to date, specifically that would make the most sense for that promotion. Okay. and personalize your resume for the position you're wanting to go for. Okay, you want to make sure that you have one master copy of your resume. That's the one we always have people create, one master version that they don't touch, and they create every version of their resume from that. Okay, and we want this to be an ongoing process for you, everybody. Make sure that you update your resume every 6 months so that you don't forget things and have to kind of go digging back, and you may miss some things if you wait too long to update it. We want to make sure that your resume is up to date at least every 6 months. So add it to your calendar and make sure you've got it as a task on a regular basis, okay? Tip number 2 is to create an accomplishments document. This is what I was talking about just a second ago. So this can just be a Word document, on your desktop, somewhere that's easily accessible. We want you to be able to easily update it on a regular basis. Write down all of your accomplishments. This is just a draft document, by the way, everyone. This is not to share with anyone. So you can just put everything in there. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean. It can be a little bit messy. But write down everything that you've accomplished, but also create sections in your accomplishment document. And if you take a look at this slide here, this will explain the sections that you want to develop. The measurable results that you've achieved over the past several years that you may not have listed on your resume. Write down testimonials and compliments that you've gotten from your boss, from peers, from clients. Copy and paste emails that you've gotten from them. Any awards that you received, any classes that you've taken, or projects that you've completed successfully. Create this as an ongoing document that you can update at any time whenever there's something that comes through that you need to add to it. And we would suggest a formal task on your calendar to remind you to take about 10 minutes every single month to review your accomplishments document as well and make sure it's up to date and it's very results oriented. Because once you get ready to share your PowerPoint or your presentation to your boss or whomever is appropriate for the promotion, when it's time to do that, you want to have those results-oriented statements in order to add to that presentation, okay? Tip number 3 is make sure that you tell your boss or whomever it is appropriate to do so that you want to advance, and ask for projects and tasks to fill the gaps that you have in between where you are now and the promotion, okay? So once you've reviewed your resume, you want to also make sure that, okay, these are the reasons why or how I'm qualified for the promotion. You also want to identify what those gaps are, okay? And create that list of gaps in experience, education, or skills. Those are the 3 areas that need to be filled in order to get that promotion, okay? And so in a separate document, separate from your accomplishments document, you want to have your plan for the promotion, when you want to go for it, and the action steps you need to take. That would be your promotions document. And identify and ask for projects to fill those gaps, okay, on a regular basis. If you want to give yourself a year to go for this, that's a reasonable time frame, but you want to make sure you're working towards it. And track your progress towards your goals, but ask or let your supervisor know that you want to move up. Not all supervisors, I guess what I should say instead is not all supervisors are totally aware that people want to move up into that next level. Don't assume that your boss knows that that's what you want to do, because some people think, hey, they're happy where they are, or they're not even thinking about it, okay? So tip number 4 is to enhance your skill set. Consider coursework to enhance your qualifications and ask your supervisor for ideas, okay? Here are some examples of places that you can look to enhance your skill set. Internet courses, we like lynda.com and coursera.com, but keep in mind too that your industry association may have very good classes or certifications that you can obtain. And if you check out their website, the association website, the main one for your industry, there could be some really good ways to enhance your skill set there. Consider certifications. It's not like you have to go back to college for, this promotion, obviously, but consider if there's a certification, especially through your industry association, if there's something that you can get that's a little bit less expensive, a little bit shorter time frame that would enhance your skill set, that's a great idea too. You can also check out local college courses as a possibility. But look at the bottom of this slide here, everybody, because this is another way to use LinkedIn that can be very helpful for people. Research the LinkedIn profiles of those people that are in that position that you want to go for, that higher level position. And notice, write down what qualifications and relevant education or skills they have that you may not have in order to know the gaps that you need to fill, okay? And then I would also suggest very strongly conducting informational interviews with people in higher level positions, whether it's someone at your organization or not at a different organization, but that has that job title that you're going for, and ask them, how do I put my best foot forward? What are the skills required here, and what are the strengths and personality traits that I should be focusing on in order to enhance my qualifications, but also when I present myself when it's time, okay? Tip number 5 is to take initiative. This one is kind of obvious, so I'll go through this one quickly. But you want to make sure, because some of us can get kind of complacent in our jobs. I've been there too. That's happened to me before I started as a coach. But make sure that you're working on tasks that you haven't been asked to. You're going the extra mile. Offer solutions to problems, not just complaining about things. And suggest improvements. Don't just kind of go with the status quo all the time. Find out if there's improvements, or suggest things that you feel, could be worked on and improved within your organization, whether it's a process or, the way you all are approaching a project. Don't just go with the flow all the time. The other thing to do too here, the last 2 bullet points, is to observe and emulate those other leaders in your organization. What are the soft skills that they have, like conflict management, motivating their employees or their teammates? Observe and emulate what qualities they have so that you can start to get a sense of what may be important for you to move up into their ranks to that next level. Write those down as well as part of your action items in your promotions document. And finally, I always love to share this kind of quote, if you will: dress for the job that you want, not the job you have. So if it's time to kind of overhaul or improve your professional brand in any way, shape, or form, including how you come across in meetings with your nonverbals, but also with your attire, consider that as one of the ways to work towards getting a promotion, okay? Really good one. So tip number 6 is to be confident. Here's the deal, everybody. Attitude is critical. Your attitude affects your actions, which in turn affects your outcome. 85% of our clients say that they are their biggest obstacle to whatever their career goal is. We all know how we feel when, for example, we go into a meeting or a networking event and we feel really good and on our A game versus when we don't. The outcome is better when we feel good. So pay attention, especially since the majority of the people on the call today said that lack of confidence was their main obstacle. Notice if you've got this imposter syndrome, what do you need to do to build your confidence? Here are some suggestions on the slide to help you boost your confidence. Number 1, write down a couple of affirmations that you post on your bathroom mirror, on your dresser, somewhere where you see it all the time. Pay attention to your body language and how you're coming across in meetings. Are you sitting up straight and confidently and, standing up tall, or are you kind of slouching and, you're kind of being meek, okay? And finally, we also recommend for clients that they make a list of all of their past accomplishments, personal and professional, even since childhood, because that can be an enormous boost to your confidence about what you can accomplish and what you bring to the table, okay? And by the way, too, we highly recommend that you get kind of an accountability partner, so to speak, whether it's a career coach like one of us on our team or someone else, a friend or family member, that will help you when you're not feeling as confident, to kind of remind you of what your strengths and your skills are, okay? Tip number 7 is to be a leader. And what I mean by that is be a leader right now. Don't wait till you get the promotion. Make sure that you're doing your part to motivate others on your team. Be a cheerleader for people and help them out and pitch in when it's time to do so. Take more of a leadership role in meetings or within your team, okay? Demonstrate that you can be a leader right now. Learn how to handle conflict effectively and develop your emotional intelligence. We love this book. We all know about emotional intelligence, EI. It's been a buzzword for a very long time in professional circles. We highly recommend this book, Emotional Intelligence, to help you work on this. You need to start being a leader right now so that you can demonstrate that you're capable of taking on that leadership position, okay? I also wanted to share this slide with you. We're going to still talk about leadership skills here for just a moment. This was a survey, if you will, of the top 7 qualities that employers typically look for. And this is relevant not just for getting a job, but getting that promotion, okay? In addition to having context, credibility within their organization, and being competent, obviously those are things that are critical. But look at this list, everybody, on the slide. These are all soft skills. Employers are looking for things like integrity, likability, courage, willingness to try something new, take a risk. These are all things that are important to demonstrate in order to show that you can be an effective leader. So we encourage you to write these things down, figure out which ones you're a little bit lower on, and start to move the needle in order to work towards the promotion. The next slide here is a great leadership wheel. This comes from Development Dimensions International. It's a highly regarded consulting firm for management professionals. I would recommend that you ask for the presentation slides, print this out, everybody, and rate yourself in each area. These are the top 10 leadership skills that they find are critically important, okay? And identify 3 areas for development for yourself. Where do you need to improve? Where are you not quite at a 10 and you need to move things up? One of the things that we would suggest, by the way, is we would also have, trying to think of the best way to describe this or think about it, I would have your supervisor rate you as well if that's comfortable for you. If it's not totally comfortable, we get it, and it's okay also to have friends or family members, but also have a trusted coworker rate you on this scale as well, so that you can get that objective feedback. I realize that could be kind of pushing you guys out of your comfort zone, but I definitely would suggest that you do that. Get that objective feedback from somebody else. All right. If you feel like you need assistance with, okay, Hallie, I've identified where my weak areas are, where I need to improve. How do I get that help to figure out how to improve those things? Please feel free to email us at admin@halliecrawford.com. I would be happy to do a free career strategy session with you directly to help you get some advice on how to improve those leadership skills. It'd be my pleasure. All right, so tip number 8, the other thing that you absolutely have to do as part of demonstrating that you deserve the promotion, but even more so that you can be an effective leader, is to ask for along the way and implement constructive criticism, okay? So people who are good managers and great leaders are people that are open to feedback and even solicit it, okay? So we highly recommend that along the way, as you're working towards that promotion, you involve your boss in the process if that's comfortable for you to do so and appropriate to do so. Okay, involve someone in the process. Talk with HR if that's the relevant avenue for you to take. But get feedback from others and ask for it on a regular basis. Don't just wait for them to tell you, okay, what their feedback is. On a consistent basis, once a month at least, get some feedback from your coworkers, your teammates, your supervisor on how you're coming across and what you need to improve, and what you do very well, so that you're focusing on both and can incorporate that into your accomplishments document and into your proposal for your promotion when it's time. And by the way, if you take a look at this slide here, okay, the incorrect response to feedback and criticism is dismissing it, blaming it, or criticizing the other person. The correct response obviously is to accept it, filter it through what you know to be true as well, but implement those changes in order to improve the situation, okay? So getting defensive, that's not going to come across well. You don't want to do that. All right, so tip number 9, let me move the slide here. Okay, tip number 9 towards working towards that promotion is to find a mentor. Mentors are different from career coaches. Career coaches give you that objective advice about your career path and your strategy. Sometimes they have industry-specific knowledge, sometimes they don't. Mentors do have industry-specific knowledge and expertise, okay? So finding a mentor can help you enormously with getting that promotion, because they can give you advice about the qualities that you need to develop, the skills you need to obtain, and that insider knowledge, if you will, about what's critical in order to sell yourself and what's new in the industry, okay? And they can also give you their opinion on your career progress, because they understand how it works. In terms of finding a mentor, everyone, you can find someone at your organization, but it can also be outside of your organization. We do recommend, though, if you do, you find someone at least within your industry who can kind of understand and, know how the industry works, okay? Tip number 10 is to prep and conduct the meeting. And we are in the process right now of actually creating a webinar for the sole purpose of educating you all about how to handle that promotion meeting when you go for the ask, okay? But in terms of preparation, that's what we've talked about today. You want to make sure that you update your resume, review your accomplishments document. We like people to have a presentation or a brag book that they bring with all of the things, the materials that we talked about today. Make sure that you conduct your salary research, and on the slide here are places that we would suggest you do that. Make sure that you are confident in your presentation, that you present your case effectively with statistics and results, not just kind of fluffy, generic stuff. And have a presentation, have materials that you share that you've practiced in advance. Make sure that obviously you ask for that promotion. And if for any reason, by the way, on the far right of this slide here, if your supervisor or HR, whomever says it's not the right time for that, don't hesitate to say to them, okay, if I can't have it now, what do I need to do to move forward and make sure that it does happen in the future, and what would be that timeline? Hold their feet to the fire. Be confident about getting those next steps in place in order to move forward towards the promotion, okay? And here are the 4 things, obviously, to avoid that would boot you out of the running, so to speak, for a promotion. You want to make sure you're always honest and transparent, reliable in terms of, not just being on time for work, but that you're timely in your response to people's requests. Don't spend a lot of time handling personal matters at work. Sometimes we can get into or sucked into social media. Pay attention to that, even on your phone, okay? And just having a negative attitude isn't positive, obviously, either, and won't demonstrate that you're ready for that promotion and ready to be a leader. And sometimes, I know these seem obvious, everyone, but make sure you pay attention to how you're coming across in the next week here, especially, because sometimes we fall into these traps without realizing it because we're frustrated by our position or, whatever it is, okay? So finally, we went through today, just to kind of get it into your head, how to get promoted in 2019, the 3 common obstacles, the 10 tips, and the 4 basics to avoid. And as a reminder, if you would like a copy of the PowerPoint presentation slides, please email us at admin@halliecrawford.com. We'd be happy to share those with you. And I'd be happy, by the way, to do a free career strategy session with you to help you take what we've talked about today and start to make it real. What are the specific steps I need to take? Because obviously, as you can imagine, we're giving you advice that is relatively generic across everyone's situation. But if you have additional specific questions that are unique to you, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. I'd be happy to talk with you. Here are on this slide here, just underneath, are some of the quotes that we've gotten from our clients. Our satisfaction rating with people is 98%. We do great work with people and just absolutely love what we do, okay? And also some organizations where our clients have secured new roles or promotions. So finally, before we start to wrap up here for today, if you have any questions that you would like to ask me as a follow-up, either schedule the strategy session or feel free to email me at admin@halliecrawford.com. I'd be happy to try to answer you via email. I want you all to write down right now, though, before we go, 2 action steps that you will take in the next week in order to move the needle towards getting that promotion. It could be any one of these items on the slide. The accomplishments document, talking to your supervisor, updating your resume, asking for other people for feedback about how you come across and the gaps that you need to fill, okay? Write those down right now for me, okay? And feel free to share those in the chat box because I will be able to read those later and respond to you if needed. And I wanted to leave you all today with this quote that I always use whenever I've had kind of a time in my life or a situation even when, I have to step out of my comfort zone and I'm not as willing to do so because I don't feel as confident or not totally ready, like asking for a promotion. The greatest risk in life, remember, is not taking one. You do not want to say at the end of your life that you didn't try at all to take that risk and move up, okay? I know that you would feel the same way I do, that at the end of my life, I want to be able to tell my grandkids or whomever else that I tried, even if I failed, versus that I didn't try at all. So I want to leave you all today with that quote, the greatest risk in life is not taking one. And please, if we can help you with anything additional, please feel free. Let me just end on this slide here really quickly. If you have questions, feel free to email me, again, at admin@halliecrawford.com. And if you'd like to talk with us about a free career strategy session, I would be happy to do so. I want to be mindful of our time. We're at the top of the hour. Thank you so much for your time today, everyone, and have a great day. We will send you the recording by tomorrow morning so that you'll have that in your email. Thanks again.